I was happening. Y'all about Rico from StreetScores, and we have the official 2025 regular season schedule for the Washington Commanders. Of course, they'll give us the preseason schedule a little later. I'm going to update y'all on that later on when that comes out. But today, we're here to dive into the full 2025 Commanders schedule, man. We're talking about the most primetime games in the NFL in 2025. Do we have a convenient bye week? We have a winner NFC East gauntlet. You'll see what I'm talking about later. We're going to dive into strength of schedule and a lot of major observations just off a first look from this schedule. And before we get into everything, of course, I have a trivia question for you. It says, what running back did the Commanders draft in 2023? We all know that answer, but of course, I'm gonna give you the answer to that at the end of this video. But before we get into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all for supporting every video. Super excited, man. I have so much content I'm working on, again, including even that Javon Kinlaw video and film sessions for the rookie class for channel members only. So stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go and dive into the video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. Let's do it, man. I mean, like I already told y'all last night, it doesn't matter who we're playing. Again, I'm not saying we're going 17-0, but looking at our opponents, man, is there anybody that strikes any ounce of fear in you? Is there anybody on our schedule that makes you feel like there's just no way we beat them? Is there any opponent that we could just definitively say we have no chance of beating? No. Again, I'm not saying we're going 17-0 or nothing like that. But there's no opponent on our schedule that's like, yeah, that's unobtainable right there. So I'm super excited, man. We just got one of them ones at quarterback. We got one of them teams. We got one of them franchises, top to bottom, front office, head coach. Let's get it. So as you can see on the screen right now, you're also seeing the opponent forecasted wins based on the 2025 season win totals, all of that type of stuff that you're seeing on the screen right now. And just to run through the schedule as you're looking at this, we start week 1. Giants at Commanders. So our first game of the season is in Landover. I know it's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. This is going to be our first game since we went to an NFC championship, man. So I'm super excited about that. Then week 2 is Commanders at Packers. Thursday night football, mind you. Then week 3, Raiders at Commanders. Then week 4, Commanders at Falcons. Then week 5, and you know I'm going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Anytime the Commanders play in Atlanta, I mean, I'm only like 20 minutes away from the stadium. Why wouldn't I go to that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be there, burgundy and gold, top to bottom. I hope I see a lot of y'all there as well, man. Take pictures and everything like we normally do, hang out, talk, all of that type of stuff, man. And then week 5, we have Commanders at Chargers. That's 4:25 p.m. Then week 6, Bears at Commanders. That's Monday Night Football. Then week 7, Commanders at Cowboys. That's 4:25 p.m. as well. Week 8, Commanders at Chiefs, Monday Night Football. Week 9, Seahawks at Commanders, Sunday Night Football. Week 10, Lions at Commanders, 4:25 p.m. Then week 11, Commanders technically versus the Dolphins in Madrid. It's technically a Dolphins home game, but Dolphins, I mean, it's not like they dominate that Spain market. This is going to be the first ever NFL American football game in Spain ever. Ever. So it's not like the Dolphins are going to have a real home field advantage. So honestly, we kind of lucked out because that's one of our away games. But technically, it's going to be like a neutral site. And if anything, just based off of what we did in the 80s and 90s, it's more than likely going to be more Commanders fans than Dolphins fans. We'll see. Then our bye week is week 12. Then week 13 is Broncos at the Commanders. Sunday Night Football. Then week 14, Commanders at Vikings. Then week 15, Commanders at Giants. Then week 16, you have the Eagles at Commanders. That's on Saturday. Week 17, Commanders at the Cowboys at Commanders. That's Christmas. So we have a Christmas game. And then week 18, Commanders at Eagles. This is a crazy schedule. I mean, just quarterbacks alone. We'll see who the Giants end up starting. More than likely Russell Wilson, but they drafted Jackson Dart. And of course, they have Jameis Winston there as well. Then you have Jordan Love the next week. Brock Bowers, my Georgia dog, you know what I'm saying? We're not even going to talk quarterback for the Raiders. Then you have at Michael Penix. Jada Daniels and Michael Penix already had a classic last year going into overtime. Then you have at Justin Herbert, that, you know, this is going to be the first time that Jaden Daniels and Justin Herbert have played since Jaden Daniels, as a true freshman at Arizona State, upset the number 6 Oregon. Like, nobody expected Arizona State to win that game. Jaden Daniels, as a true freshman, beat Justin Herbert. What was that, like his 4th, 5th year? I think that was like his 5th year in college, and that was like the year before he went into the draft, and then he ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. So that was not like a bad, younger Justin Herbert. That was prime college Justin Herbert at the height of his college career, going against a true freshman in Jaden Daniels. So I can't wait to see that rematch as well. Then you have Caleb Williams at Commanders, the Hail Mary seen all across the world. That's a rematch when those quarterbacks. Then you finally get Jaden Daniels versus Dak Prescott. You know, that's going to be pretty cool. Then you also have Jaden Daniels versus the previous face of the league and Pat Mahomes, because Jaden Daniels is taking that over. We're going to dive into that and talk about that for real in this video. Jaden Daniels is probably the face of the league right now already. It's between him and Pat Mahomes. So we're going to dive into that, because we can even compare primetime games to primetime games. We can go band for band with the Chiefs right now. Then you have the Seahawks at Commanders. So that's Sam Darnold over there that went to the Seahawks versus Jaden Daniels. Then you have Jared Goff and the Lions. Even though they don't have Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn anymore, they'll try to get their revenge on us from the NFC divisional round game, but that's still Jared Goff at Jaden Daniels. Then you have Jaden Daniels versus Tua in Spain, then bye week, and then you have that whole Bo Nix. A lot of people, for some crazy reason, felt like he deserved to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, so we could put that to rest. Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels week 13. Then you have Commanders, Jaden Daniels versus maybe JJ McCarthy by then. Then we'll see whoever. I think it's safe to bet money that when we play the Giants week 1, the quarterback that we play then will not be the quarterback we end up playing when we play them again 14 weeks later, week 15. I'm willing to bet that it's probably going to end up being Jackson Dart, or they may switch to Jameis Winston midseason. I'm not very confident in the fact that it'll still be Russell Wilson week 1 and week 15 for the Giants. Then it's Jalen Hurts. We're going to dive into that later. I can't wait to talk about Jalen Hurts. We're going to dive into that real soon, actually. Jalen Hurts at Jaden Daniels, then Dak Prescott at Jaden Daniels again, and then it's Jaden Daniels at Jalen Hurts. So let's dive into it, man. First of all, primetime game-wise, that's like the first major observation here. I have some major ones, some big ones, and then we also have some smaller ones as we get towards the end of the video. But off rip, primetime game-wise, this is insane. Just to let you know, we have 3 Sunday games at 4:25 p.m., 2 Sunday nights, 2 Monday nights, 1 Thursday night, a Christmas game, and we played the first ever NFL American football game in Spain ever. That is insane, man. So this is what happens when you finally get that quarterback that everybody wants to watch, when your team becomes extremely marketable, man. I mean, think about it. Shouts out to Mason Kinahan for pointing this out. Just to let you know, we have 8, I repeat, 8 primetime / standalone games this upcoming season, right? The year before, in 2024, we had 3. 2023, we had 2. 2022, we had 3. 2021, we had 3. We have 8 this year, y'all. 8. That's the same amount of primetime / standalone games that we've had the previous 3 years combined, 2022 through 2024, all added up together. That is insane. Also, shouts out to Warren Sharp too, because this is not just hitting us as Commanders fans. You have a lot of Eagles fans hating. We're going to dive into that real soon. I can't wait to get to that. But then even the national media is taking note of this. Like Warren Sharp, a pure football analytics guy, no attachment to the Commanders whatsoever, not a Commanders fan, not a Commanders reporter, and pointed out the fact that the NFL is pulling for the Commanders to be great. Like, they're literally banking on us to be great. So I know we talk about like referees and not getting calls and stuff like that. We'll start to get some of those Chiefs calls now, because now we have one of the 2 faces of the NFL. Again, we're going to dive into it real soon. We can go band for band with the Chiefs when it comes to primetime games. And Jaden Daniels is one of, at worst, one of the top 5 faces in the NFL. And again, the way that the NFL is trying to showcase us as often as possible for everybody to watch national televised games, primetime games in Spain and things like that, I think naturally we're going to start to get some more calls from the referees, because they want us to win. They want us to play well. They want us to look good. They want us to score points, and they want us to make a deep playoff run, because again, most importantly, we have one of those guys at quarterback, man. And Warren Sharp also pointed out the fact that this is the first time in franchise history that the Commanders have had 8 standalone games ever. ever in burgundy and gold history. That's the Redskins, that's the Washington football team, that's the Commanders, that's anybody. Warren Sharp also said the Commanders haven't had more 4 standalone games since their glory years in the early 1990s. We haven't had more than 4 since the 1990s. We have 8 this year. They've averaged just over 2 standalone games the last 6 years, which is kind of like, I mean, every team has to get a couple every year, so we just got like the bare minimum. Thanks to Jaden Daniels, the Commanders have 8 standalone games in 2025. And just to let you know, the reason why I say we're going to start getting good calls from the refs and things like that, if anything, the refs are going to start cheating for us and not against us. And we're going to start probably getting calls to the level of the Chiefs, because we are tied for the most standalone and primetime games in the entire NFL for this 2025 season with only the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs and the Commanders, the 2 teams that have the most primetime standalone games out of the entire NFL in 2025. Again, the NFL literally wants to see us succeed. They want us to ball out, man. And just to let you know, that also, those 8 games don't even include the strong possibility of the Commanders versus Eagles, the battle for the division, that to end up getting flexed to Saturday night to be the last game of the season. So that could end up technically being a 9th primetime standalone game. And so shouts out to Louis T, man. All of us on the Commanders Kings are going to be live streaming tonight, our live reaction for the schedule, and we're going to dive into everything, give our thoughts, our opinions. Of course, it's going to be super funny and passionate, so make sure you pull up for that. We're going to do record predictions and all of that. But Louis T did a whole minute video just laughing at Eagles fans like, ha ha. Now, y'all thought Jalen Hurts was the face of the NFL or the division, the conference, whatever you want to say. No, it's actually Jaden Daniels. Sucks to be y'all, basically. Did a whole minute laughing at him. Of course, Lord Brunson, Eagles fan, had to come and reply. He said, don't let these guys pull wool over y'all eyes. I know you're excited, but saying you have 8 primetime games is wild. And then he pointed out the fact that technically NFL only allows a maximum of 6 primetime games every year to any team. And then you also had another Eagles fan said this is a very dense fan base per usual. Then Benjamin Albright, another reporter, no attachment to the Commanders, not a Commanders fan, not a Commanders reporter, nothing. He replied to all of this hate that everybody was giving the Commanders and said, well, I'm not a part of that fan base. They have 6 primetime games and 2 standalone games, and those standalone games are considered primetime because there's nothing else scheduled opposite of nationally. If you guys want to play semantic games because your butt hurt, that's entirely your prerogative, but it makes you look small when you do. So shouts out to Benjamin Albright for coming back. And then Lord Brunson, of course, had a reply to that on Twitter. He said it's either prime time or not. Maybe you should look at the meaning. 9:30 a.m. in the United States and 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast is prime time where? Nobody's butt hurt, buddy. We just had a parade with 2 million people there. I believe it was the only parade that day. Then Benjamin Albright replied to that and said, bro, you're crying about another team getting primetime games while trying to act like you're bigger. If you were actually bigger, you wouldn't be crying about them getting primetime games. I mean, really, now this is me. I honestly don't understand how Eagles fans care about everything we have going on this much. What is going on? You would swear that they did not just win a Super Bowl. I swear a lot of Eagles fans, not all of them, but a lot of them, act like they didn't just win a Super Bowl 2 months ago. I mean, if we had just won a Super Bowl in this past February, I wouldn't even have the attention span to debate and go back and forth with any team other than ours in the NFL, man. We just won a Super Bowl. How do you go from winning a Super Bowl 3 months ago to caring about how many primetime games a division rival has? Like, what kind of debate is that? Like, you could just tell that it really bugs them and kills them inside. They can't even sleep at night knowing that even though they just won a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels is the face of the division, the conference, and arguably the entire NFL already after just 1 season. You know, a lot of people are saying sophomore slump this, sophomore slump that. CJ Stroud was never to this level. Nobody was talking about CJ Stroud being the face of the AFC, let alone the NFL. Jaden Daniels, after 1 year, is already one of the 2 faces of the NFL, just off of the fact that the Chiefs and the Commanders have the most primetime standalone games out of the entire NFL. There's nobody else in that tier with us. But shouts out to y'all on the West Coast, though, because at least, and Lord Brunson brings up not even a good point, but the fact that he brought up the West Coast does take me to my next point, because shouts out to the West Coast, because for them, instead of games starting at 10 a.m. most of the season, now a lot of our games will start at 1 p.m. for them, our 4:25 games, and then our 8 p.m. games will start at 5 p.m. for them. So it's ugly for us with bedtimes over here on the East Coast with stuff to do in the morning, but at least the West Coast Commanders get to really benefit off of this. And that's where Jaden Daniels is from anyway, so it kind of feels like it's only right that like the West Coast gets the benefit from this some. But the only thing is though, that Madrid game that's 9:30 a.m. East Coast time, that means it's going to be 6:30 a.m. West Coast time. So that's the one game where the West Coast is not looking too pretty for y'all. But outside of that, man, I know that the West Coast has to be jumping for joy with the way that this schedule played out. Now, of course, me being a streamer, I prefer as many 1 p.m. games as possible. I stream, we do the call-in show, and then I can still catch some of those later games, maybe the end of the 4 p.m. games, and I can catch like a lot of the 8 p.m. games as well. But it looks like we won't be able to do that this year. We're going to dive into that later. But some of the most notable games that we'll be playing, as you can see on the screen right now, Christmas. They done messed up and gave us Christmas. Now, granted, again, as a selfish streamer, I don't like the fact that we're playing it on Christmas. But as a pure Commanders fan, of course, I'm excited the fact that we get to play at a time that everybody's going to be watching. Now, granted, again, as a selfish streamer, I'm not about to be streaming that game. It is 1 p.m. on Christmas. I'm going to be with my family, eating, chilling, laughing. So y'all, I mean, that's the unfortunate part. And that, again, selfish streamer side of me with all these 8 p.m. games and these primetime games and stuff like that. I'm not going to be streaming as many games as I typically do. You know, I try to stream every game throughout the season. I'm not streaming on Christmas. I mean, at least we dodge Thanksgiving, so I don't have to worry about streaming on Thanksgiving. I can spend that time with my family, eat good food, and then whatever, you know, the games we play before and after Thanksgiving, I got y'all. But Christmas 1 p.m., nah. I mean, maybe I'll pull up and stream like a little bit just to kind of see how y'all feeling, but that streaming from the beginning of the game to the end of the game and call-in show, not happening on Christmas. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. But again, as a Commanders fan, we should all be super excited about this, man. We should be elated that the NFL wants to propel us to being the face of the NFL this bad, as one of the main brands. Again, it's us and the Chiefs that, again, just based off of primetime and standalone games alone, we are one of the biggest brands in all of the NFL right now. They're giving us the draft in 2027. Just like a couple of weeks after that, we announced that we were trying to get the stadium in 2030. Like, Roger Goodell pulled up himself in person to the White House to announce the draft being in DC for 2027. That would have never have happened if we didn't go on the run we did last year and if we didn't have Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Dan Snyder selling the team, it mattered a lot, and bringing in Josh Harris and Mitchell Rails, Magic Johnson, all of those guys, it did matter a lot. Having Adam Peters as a general manager helped. Dan Quinn as a head coach helped. But none of this is possible without Jaden Daniels. I'm pretty sure we don't have the draft in 2027 if we don't have Jaden Daniels. He's the reason for all of this, which is why, again, maybe this is Pat Mahomes passing the torch on to Jaden Daniels to be the face of the NFL, especially with how bad Pat Mahomes just went out in the Super Bowl. Now, granted, he was in the Super Bowl last year. Don't forget that. But, hey, my Georgia Dogs did him dirty. And so now maybe Pat Mahomes. And then, of course, again, we play Pat Mahomes. We play the Chiefs Monday Night Football Week 8. We beat them. Jaden Daniels outduels Pat Mahomes. He will officially take over as the face of the NFL. I love that. Now, some other major schedule analysis that I have for y'all. Let's go ahead and get this out the way. Strength of schedule wise, as you can see, the Commanders have a .55. I already talked about this and showed y'all this last night, but just with a different graphic. We have the 8th toughest schedule in the entire NFL. As you've noticed, the Giants have the toughest schedule in the entire NFL. We pointed this out last night. That is purely just the NFC East and the NFC North with all of the top 8 most difficult schedules in the entire NFL. Now, luckily, out of that top 8, we have the easiest of the worst 8 schedules between the two divisions. It's literally, the top 8 is only of those two divisions. Giants, Bears, Lions, Eagles, Cowboys, Packers, Vikings, and Commanders. Just completely dominating all of the toughest schedules at the top of the list. But hey, at least we have the easiest out of that group. But of course, again, out of the entire NFL, all 32 teams, we are 8th. So it's going to be tough, man. That second place schedule is going to be a little rough. Again, having to travel all the way to Madrid is going to be a little rough as well. But we're going to deal with it, man. I'm ready. Like I said, I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not looking at this schedule and be like, ooh, I don't know. But nah, bring anybody, any and everybody, fully healthy, whatever. Let's get it. And another important analysis there is that our bye week is pretty late, but we may honestly prefer that with the fact that we plan on being Super Bowl contenders and perennial playoff goers. Think about it. Just talk to me. Just give me a second. If you include the conference championship game that we went to last year, we played 20 games last season. And with the moves we've made this offseason, I'm definitely loving our chances of getting right back to the conference championship again. And so think about it, bye week is technically in the middle. It's late of the regular season, but based off of all of the games that we may end up playing, including the postseason, it's technically right where it needs to be. Think about it. We're playing 11 regular season games, bye week, and then including the postseason, we have another 9 games, potentially 10 if we make it to the Super Bowl. So it actually makes a lot of sense to have that bye week when we have it in week 12. That actually really helps us a lot. Y'all are going to grow to love the fact that that's where our bye week is. Also, bye week wise, there are 2 more additional benefits to it being as late as it is. The second one, it gives us a chance to recover from our trip to Madrid. We have a bye week the immediate week after we just went to Spain for our game against the Dolphins. And that would also give us an entire 2 weeks to prepare for the Broncos, the matchup between Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, so we can lay that to rest. But most importantly, the Broncos may end up having the best defense in all of football this upcoming season. So to have 2 weeks to recover from the trip to Spain and to have 2 weeks to schematically prepare for an elite defense is pretty beneficial to us. And then the third benefit is that week 12 bye is also right in the spot to get us ready for that NFC East gauntlet to finish the season. Weeks 15 through 18, purely NFC East division rival opponents. You have the Giants, then the Eagles, then the Cowboys, then the Eagles again. That winter gauntlet is crazy. And so thank goodness we get a bye week like a couple of weeks before we start a pure division rival gauntlet. We need to be as healthy as possible for all of those games, man. We need that. And shouts out to Josh Taylor. He brings up some good points. He said, not gonna lie, the schedule is in Washington's favor for as many primetime games as they have. Primetime games are inconvenient, but they did a good job of giving us long rest day as far as a stretch before the Eagles' final game of the season. That's a good point, because technically since we play the Cowboys on Christmas Day, I believe that may be like a Thursday, and then we play the Eagles again week 18 on like a Saturday or a Sunday. So we have like a week and a half basically to prepare for that final game of the season, and the Eagles will not. They'll have a normal 7 days, I believe. And then also beyond that, it's a quick turnaround with the Eagles and Cowboys on Christmas, but both are home games, so they kind of gave us that. Then the Packers away game is early, so it's not a bad weather game. We won't have to play them in the snow. That's a great observation. Thank you for that, Josh Taylor, as well. We have big time primetime games. Most of them are at home. I don't know if y'all noticed that. Most of our primetime games are at home. That's really good for us. Also, the week 12 bye week after the Madrid trip, a rest for the down stretch, like I just pointed out. And also, he said, I have no complaints, honestly, except for 4 NFC East games to end the season. And that does make me a little like, I can see why the NFL would love that for ratings, but I hate that as a Commanders fan, because I mean, at the end of the day, the healthiest team is probably, it may not even necessarily be the most talented team or even the best team. The healthiest team late in the season is going to more than likely be the team that wins those games. And that sucks. That's really annoying, because you could have a guy that's prepared to come back that's going to be healthy for the postseason, but maybe he's not healthy for those last couple of regular season games against those division rivals. And those may have serious ramifications as to which seeding you're going to get, if you win the division or not, if you make the playoffs at all or not. So that definitely does scare me. And then also shouts out to Rant, because he does bring up a good point though to kind of retort that a little bit. He says, so when 2 of the teams are out, they actually have something to play for when you have all of those NFC East teams towards the end. So even like, say like the Giants are horrible, you know, that one late season game that we have against the Giants, maybe it will have a little bit more higher stakes to it, because we have a better idea of, okay, the Commanders are trying to make the playoffs and the Giants are trying to spoil it. So, you know, and also Rant Burgundy brings up another good point that maybe it provides some anti-tanking measures towards the end of the season as well, with the Giants trying their hardest to ruin our season, even though they have nothing to probably play for by that time. Also, moving on, did y'all notice that we don't play a 1 p.m. game for over 2 months straight, y'all? From week 6 through 13, no 1 p.m. games. Wow. We even played 9:30 in the morning in Madrid in that streak of weeks, but no 1 p.m. games. There's even a bye week in there, yes, but there's still 7 games in a row, no 1 p.m. That's pretty crazy, man. I mean, remember, we had 10 1 p.m. games last season, y'all, if y'all forgot. Now we only have 5 of them this entire season. Only 5 1 p.m. games out of 17 games. They just can't get enough of Jaden Daniels, man. And I know Eagles fans are sick because they, for some crazy reason, thought that Jalen Hurts was the face of the conference, or at the very least, face of the division, right? But he may not even necessarily be the face of his own team right now, man. There's different levels to this dog. There's just different levels. They were like, man, I know the Commanders at some point this season are going to have to play 1 p.m. games. It's unavoidable. You're going to have to play some. We're going to give them the least amount as possible. Shouts out to Bleeding Burgundy and Gold. I completely agree. He said, after today, I think it's safe to say that Jaden Daniels is the face of the league. Debate your mother. And then shouts out to Rio Robinson. I completely agree. He said, go ahead and throw us on Hard Knocks. We are the darlings of the league now. Everybody wants a piece of 5. I completely agree. They love us, man. And also, if you look on the screen right now, across all sports in America, so far, this far in 2025, Jaden Daniels has the most jerseys sold out of any player in all of sports. NBA, MLB, NHL, any of them in America. Jaden Daniels has the #1 jersey sold. That is absolutely insane. That is literally not only, all right, forget Pat Mahomes and being the face of the NFL. How about the face of the country, the face of American sports? That is insane. Now, how about some other random and small analysis? First of all, let's get this out the way. Sunday night versus the Seahawks that I mentioned earlier is for sure a primetime game because of us and us only. Let's get that out the way. I don't mean to hate on Seahawks fans, but they ain't coming to see you, Otis. Like, that ain't for y'all, man. Y'all are playing primetime because of the Commanders right there. That's not because of the matchup or the Seahawks themselves. That is purely Jaden Daniels. Also, shout out to Disco because he brings up a good point. He said with the Commanders playing at home on Christmas, some fans are going to have to make some serious life decisions. And that's a good point. Home with the family, going to the game. I mean, these are some difficult decisions. And shouts out to Taj Wilson on Twitter because he brings up another good point as well. He said he told his employer, you got to work around my schedule this fall. Won't be seeing me a lot on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays because we'll be playing a lot of late games on Sundays, late games on Mondays, and late games on Thursdays. That's a funny point. Some people are really going to have to make some decisions around this schedule right now. We're not used to this. This hasn't been us for a long time. We don't even know how to deal with these certain situations. And then also, shouts out to Jay Daniels MVP. Now this takes me to my last major point. He said, I don't know why folks are surprised / mad about the Commanders having many primetime games. Now, of course, me as a selfish streamer, I'm a little annoyed, but I'm very thankful with the fact that we have all of these primetime games. Let's get to it. The fans wanted a franchise quarterback at an organization that wants to win. Well, they got that now. Winning equals money equals views equals putting us in primetime games all of the time. I love that we will be able to play football and win in front of a bigger audience all of the time. Now, I completely agree. Shouts out to Mike Hall. He said people complain about the stadium. Now we getting one. People complain about the uniforms, and we're supposedly tweaking those. People complain about the coaches in the front office. Now we got one of the best in the league. Please stop complaining about the new primetime games and us being the new primetime darlings, man. Stop complaining. Every step of the way, it does seem like people are just never satisfied. I agree, man. And again, even as somebody that prefers 1 p.m. games as often as possible, these are very positive effects of finally having a winning team and an elite, not only just a franchise quarterback, an elite franchise quarterback that everybody wants to watch, regardless of which team they're a fan of. And just in case if this still doesn't convince you to fall in love with the fact that we have all of these primetime games, if you're still a little uncomfortable with it, think about it like this. Primetime games and standalone games equal more Pro Bowls for our current players from all of the national and even global attention and recognition that we're about to get right now. And more Hall of Famers when these guys finally call it quits and hang up the cleats. More attention, more eyes leads to us having more household names on the roster, and that will lead to more Pro Bowls and Hall of Fames. Because you can't tell me the guys like London Fletcher are not in the Hall of Fame because he doesn't deserve it. Like his stats don't stand up right next to Ray Lewis's. If anything, some of his stats are even better than Ray Lewis's when you put them side by side. And he even won a Super Bowl before he joined the Burgundy and Gold, but he spent a lot of his prime years with the Burgundy and Gold. We weren't doing a lot of winning. He had a lot of elite play, but a lot of people just didn't have eyes on him to see it live and appreciate it because the burgundy and gold just sucked. I mean, even the 1 year that he was there that we were good, it was the RG3 rookie season. But remember, I think we started like 2-6 that year. So it wasn't even midway through the season that people cared about us. We were 2-6 at one point. It had to be like way later in the year that people finally started to be like, oh, let's watch these Redskin games. This RG3 guy is electric. They're winning. And then while looking for RG3, you come for RG3, you leave thinking, yo, who is that London Fletcher linebacker? He's a true leader. He's a dominant linebacker. Where has he been? He's always been there. People just didn't watch our games. So at the very least, I don't care how much y'all do not like us having as many primetime games. At the very least, you gotta love it for the burgundy and gold players. They're gonna get so much more recognition and accolades just because of this. And I love that, if anything else. Again, even as a selfish streamer that wants 1 p.m. games, again, being completely selfish, I am in love with the fact that guys like Terry McLaurin will now get seen by more people. So he's going to start getting put into more top 5 wide receiver debates, more Pro Bowls, more. And then when he finally calls it quits and retires, he's far more likely to make it to the Hall of Fame, because everybody's going to have these memories imprinted in them of him making amazing catches Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, Thursday night against the Packers. I can't remember the exact games, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be these pivotal classic moments that people never forget, even as non-Commanders fans, of Terry going up and mossing somebody for a game-winning touchdown while everybody's watching. Similar to how we did it a few times last year. Everybody watching that Commanders-Falcons game at the end. The Bengals game. That's what really started it. Like, that Bengals game, that game winner from Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin, and everybody started hyping us up immediately after that. And then that's why immediately Jaden Daniels started getting MVP votes, or at least chatter like, is Jaden Daniels like a top 3 MVP candidate right now at quarterback, even though he's only a few weeks into the season? You had guys on that exposure led to ESPN talking about us constantly. First Take, everybody on Fox Sports, all of those different networks, like Nick Wright, all of those guys, Stephen A, everybody, Keyshawn John, all of the different networks, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, they're all talking about us immediately after we beat the Bengals. If we beat the Bengals were a great team, but if we would have beat them, just say Sunday at 1 p.m., it would have received nowhere near as much recognition and attention that it did. So we need these primetime games so that our players get the recognition and just the pure love that they deserve, man, nationally. Instead of just only in our fan base where we're screaming Terry McLaurin is a top 10, top 5 receiver. Now you're going to start to have a lot more people outside of our fan base agreeing with us, because they're going to see it with their own eyes. And Jaden Daniels is also just him being him. Forget just being the face of the franchise. Him being the elite quarterback is going to make everybody else around him play better as well. You saw Terry McLaurin broke a franchise record for receiving touchdowns the 1 year that Jaden Daniels is your quarterback. Like, I'm telling y'all, the sky's the limit, and y'all should be proud. Y'all should be excited. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you feel about everything discussed in the video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release informative and opinion video just like this one. Really appreciate y'all, man. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video, all of my points that I brought up. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me at any point. And of course, the answer to your question is, of course, Chris Rodriguez. We took him round 6. That was an Eric Bieniemy pick. I don't like these questions that are this recent. I don't feel like it's difficult enough. But hey, maybe some people forgot that we drafted Chris Rodriguez. Maybe that was a sneaky one that could have caused some people slipping. But either way, man, I really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all leave a like on the way out. And of course, please let me know in the comment section how you feel about this schedule. Let me know, again, if you agree or disagree with any of my points. Let me know why. Either way, appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm gonna be on the stream tonight. I'm out.